All right, let's get right into it. For a long time, we've understood autism mostly through behavior and psychology. But what if the real key is hiding in the basic biology of the brain itself? Today, we're going to explore a really new way of looking at this, a framework that sees autism not just as a condition, but as a disorder of brain connectivity, and how something as simple as light could actually help bring it all back into balance.
This quote from Dr. Stefano Pallanti just nails it. This is a huge moment in brain science. We're moving away from these kind of abstract, philosophical ideas about the mind and getting our hands on the real biological nuts and bolts of how the brain works, and more importantly, how it can heal. This is that story.
So before we dive into all the cool new science, let's just make sure we're on the same page about what we're talking about. Autism spectrum disorder, or ASD.
The most important word here? It's spectrum. This isn't just one thing. It's this huge range of experiences, of abilities. It's a neurodevelopmental condition, which just means it starts early in life and it really shapes how the brain grows and wires itself up from the get-go.
So when doctors are looking at a diagnosis, they're really zeroing in on two main things. First, you've got persistent challenges in social communication and interaction. And second, there are these restricted or repetitive patterns of behavior. These are kind of the two big pillars of the diagnosis.
And here's why this research is so important. 20 years ago, the rate of ASD was thought to be about 1 in 300 kids. Today, it's more like 1 in 80. Now, that's not just a number on a page, that's the driving force, the urgency behind this massive search for a deeper biological understanding that goes way beyond just watching behaviors.
Okay, now this is where it gets really fascinating. Researchers have a new idea about what's actually going on inside the brain in ASD, and the best way to explain it is to think about a garden.
So here's the big question. What if the problem at the heart of ASD isn't that something's broken or missing, but that two really important forces in the brain are just out of balance?
And those two forces are neuroplasticity and neuroinflammation. I want you to think of plasticity as the flowering in the garden. It's the brain's amazing ability to grow new connections, to learn, to adapt. And neuroinflammation, that's the gardener. It's the brain's immune system, and its job is to go in and prune, to shape those connections, and clean things up so the important stuff can really flourish.
And this is where that garden analogy really clicks. The theory goes that in the ASD brain, the gardener, the immune system, is working overtime. It's overactive. It's not pruning correctly. So instead of a nice, well-tended garden, you get a dense, tangled forest of connections. This imbalance is thought to be one of the key biological signatures of autism.
Okay, so if the problem is this biological imbalance between the flowering and the gardening, could a biological tool help get things back on track? This is where light comes into the picture. It's called photobiomodulation, or PBM for short. And I know, it sounds a little bit sci-fi, right? But it's actually a non-invasive therapy that uses specific frequencies of light, usually delivered through a special headset, to send energy directly into the brain cells. And the science behind it is surprisingly elegant.
So how in the world does this even work? Well, imagine the light energy getting soaked up by this little molecule inside our cells' power plants, the mitochondria. This gives the cells a major energy boost. And with all this extra energy, the brain's immune cells, those overactive gardeners, can finally calm down, which reduces that inflammation. And when that happens, it gives the brain the space it needs for healthier growth and better connectivity.
This is why this whole approach is such a potential game changer. I mean, think about it. Right now, there are no medications that actually treat the core symptoms of autism, the social communication stuff, the repetitive behaviors. We have things for related issues, sure, but not for the core dimensions. And that's the huge gap that a safe biological tool like PBM could maybe, just maybe, start to fill.
Okay, so the theory sounds great. It makes sense, right? But the million-dollar question is always, does it actually work in the real world? Let's look at the evidence.
You can actually see the trail of evidence building up here. It all started with animal models, where PBM helped with autism-like behaviors. From there, it moved into human studies, including one that showed real behavioral improvements in kids. And now, more recent studies are showing similar positive results, not just in children, but in adults too.
What's really remarkable here is the consistency. It doesn't seem to matter if we're looking at kids or adults, these early studies are finding improvements in those core symptoms. But just as important, look at that safety column. The safety profile was excellent. In fact, in these key studies, not a single person dropped out because of side effects. For this population, that is huge.
And check this out. This chart really drives the point home. This is from the study on adults, and you can clearly see a major improvement in social communication scores after just 8 weeks of therapy. This is a really big deal because those core social challenges have always been the hardest to treat, especially in adults.
So what does all of this mean for the future of autism therapy? Let's put all the pieces together.
Okay, let's just boil this down. What are the big things to take away? First, photobiomodulation looks like a really promising way to treat the core symptoms of autism, not just the stuff on the sidelines. Second, it's not a band-aid. It's designed to target the biological root of the issue, that imbalance in the brain's garden. And finally, the early data suggest it works in both kids and adults, and crucially, it appears to be incredibly safe.
But wait, the story doesn't stop there, because the future isn't just about using PBM. It's about personalizing it. This is the really exciting part. Researchers are now looking at using tools like EEG to actually map an individual's unique brainwave patterns. The whole idea is to get beyond a one-size-fits-all approach. Instead, they could pick the exact frequency of light that is perfectly tailored to rebalance that specific person's brain.
And that leaves us with this incredible, kind of mind-blowing question. Are we on the verge of a new era? One where we could move beyond broad labels and actually treat a person's unique neural signature with a personalized prescription of light. It's a future that is, well, quite literally brilliant.